Welcome to the Breast Kings podcast. Right here with me in the studio, as always, I have no one. I am here by myself doing a catch-up episode because this has just been a very lazy and off week for BKP. When we return, we will be talking about the relation of Hinduism and rape. Something everybody wants to hear and something no one is covering. But as of now, we are going to have a very brief and very quick catch-up episode. It might even be just like 5 minutes. Who knows? But I have been hustling out content today and hustling for myself. So I'm going to get this out of the way. We will be returning on Tuesday, whether or not Raphael or Jaden can be there or not. Because truthfully, I am the show. But in the corner, I have a very attractive picture of Jaden. Because, you know, he's a fan favorite, so we just bring him back. But the importance is the visual shirt of the day right here. Link will be in the description. It is very nice, only $20, and you can get it in brown, black, gray, and it looks great no matter what color you get. I would recommend brown, by the way. Anyways, let's go right into it with some Donald Trump. Yeah, anyways. Oh, look. There goes my shirts. I did not mean to actually advertise these, but they're advertising itself. These are my shirts. Go ahead and buy them. They're lit. Anyways. Donald Trump considers issuing new travel ban. This was something, this is very chaotic in the news right now. Everybody has a lot to say about this. I really don't feel affected by it. I don't know where I stand as far as letting refugees in. I don't know where I stand as far as letting people in. I don't know where I stand as far as foreign policy. I really didn't care that much. I feel like there was an overreaction. But that's just me saying that, and maybe it was the completely correct way to react. I don't know. I think people use Trump as a villain, though, because a lot of people want escapes from doing things that they know they should be doing, and Trump is that person. Most people, 90% of people, have low self-esteem, so they're always looking for people to project hate upon, and Trump is just that guy. I say, if you go out and get yours, Trump is not going to affect you, but no one's going to do that, so whatever. So he's just an entertainment factor to me right now, and it's going to be an entertaining 4 years for me watching everybody rage while I just sit in the background chomping on popcorn. Donald Trump is considering a new executive order to ban citizens of certain countries from traveling to the U.S. after his initial attempt was overturned in the courts. Mr. Trump told reporters on Air Force One that a brand new order could be issued as early as Monday or Tuesday. People are gonna fucking trip. I think it's fucking hilarious that this dude had it overruled and a week or two later he's back on it. That's persistence. Mr. Trump told reporters, I already read that one. It comes after an appeals court in San Francisco upheld a court ruling to suspend his original order. It barred entry from It barred entry from citizens from 7 mainly Muslim countries. It is unclear what a new U.S. immigration order might look like. Trump said it would change very little, but he did not provide details for any new ban under consideration. Okay. Despite his suggestion on Friday, Mr. Trump's administration may still pursue its case in the courts over the original order, which was halted a week ago by a Seattle judge. We'll win that battle, Mr. Trump told reporters, adding, the unfortunate part is it takes time. We'll win that battle, but we also have a lot of other options, including just filling a brand new order. Okay, so I'm seeing not much here, I'm thinking. From what I heard, the countries that Trump banned are having a lot of problems as far as violence, and I empathize with people in other countries having a shitty time and wanting to escape and make a new life somewhere else, and I feel for that. Um, but there's also another side of me that's tired of being other countries' older brother. I hate being the older brother of other countries. I don't want to save the world when we're always focused on making the world a better place rather than making ourselves better, because I think we're shitty. Um, Shitty in terms of what we can be. We're a lot better than other countries, this being why other people from other countries want to come to us. But as far as what America can be, we could possibly be so much more with the power we have right now. But it's just like with a person. If a person wants to make change, they first have to try to change within themselves to make the best version of themselves. And America pretty much skipped that part and said, hey, we're just going to go help everybody else before we help us. And I don't like that. So as far as refugees, I'm very shaken up. I don't think 90 days was that big of a deal for a ban. I think people are looking to hate Donald Trump. I also think people on Donald Trump's side have gave out a lot of hate as well. But it's like one side can't just be objective. They have to totally go wild with their view. Like, I don't know where I stand right now as a conservative or a liberal, as a Republican or a Democrat. But other people are like, yes, I'm this. And whatever this area thinks, I think everything like that. And I don't think that's the right way to identify in politics. Politics is a nuanced thing. It is the way that we live our lives. It decides everything that happens to us. So we can't just go full one side. We can't just hate on Trump every single chance we can. We can't just hate on Trump because of his ideas, but refuse to bring any of our own ideas to the table. It's blind hatred. I like constructive criticism, not blind hatred. Anyways, last episode we were reading an article called 100 Reasons Why I'm a Feminist, and I think we left off on number 30. When Jaden returns or Raphael returns or something, we're probably going to do 365 reasons to be a feminist and just let that be the entire show. Long episode. Anyways, number 30. There are self-defense classes specifically for women, meaning that is a common, prevalent need in the world for self-defense classes specifically for women to exist. I think these self-defense classes stem from fear, as in like a sales mechanism. For a sales mechanism, they'll tell females like, violence is happening all around you. You never know when a man is going to come hurt you. I don't think statistically in most areas in the U.S. I know it's very different. No, they're not very different, but it's different in other countries. I don't think specifically in the U.S. you're just like bound to get beat up by a guy if you're a woman. I don't think like that's a huge thing. I don't think that happens in large percentages. But I think they instill fear in people, and that's why self-defense classes make so much money. It's not really a common thing. The only time I've ever heard of a guy doing domestic violence to a woman, I've seen it once with my eyes. The only time I've ever heard of it other than that, or knew of it other than that, is on TV and media. So it's not that prevalent, but it's still another reason that self-defense classes could be made is just genetically overall, for the most part, men are just stronger than women physically, so women need to they need to learn mechanisms to defend against that, and it might not be just because that's common. Also, how common are self-defense classes? How many people are actually taking them, are in need of common them? Because that would also make the argument that you're giving, even if everything I said was completely false and you disputed that, that would also, like, if it wasn't very common, that would dispute your point. 31. Donald Trump is the president-elect of the United States. Donald Trump is not the president-elect of the United States because he is sexist or he is racist. Rather, he is those two things. That is arguable, and you can debate on that. But Donald Trump is the president because he had a message. He has something you could stand behind. Hillary Clinton did not have a message. Hillary Clinton, I lean liberal on like 60% of issues, I think. And Hillary Clinton was not a liberal. Hillary Clinton was one of the worst candidates ever to run for U.S. president. She did not believe in anything. She had no charisma. She didn't symbolize change. Obama came in and he was a fiery politician. Everybody expected a lot from him. He didn't do too bad, but he didn't do too good either. We expected so much from him, and he had an okay term. So people don't want okay. They wanted a change. Mind you, Hillary Clinton still won the popular vote, but she didn't get as many votes as Obama or other Democrats before her. There was a wide enthusiasm gap. And many people were way more enthusiastic about Trump because he had strong ideas. Hillary Clinton had moderate ideas. And people wanted the strong in this case. It wasn't because that Trump is sexist. It wasn't because Trump is discriminatory. It was because he gave them something to believe in. He talked about jobs being traded away. He said, while Hillary Clinton was taking shots at Russia, Donald Trump said it would be a healthy thing to have a good relationship with Russia. Now, since Donald Trump has been president, he's done some questionable things. Certainly. Certain things that raise an eye or an eyebrow. But he wasn't elected because he's sexist. The hashtag repeal the 19th happened. I think that hashtag for a wide reason happened just to piss you guys off because you get triggered so easily. But yeah, that hashtag was bullshit. You don't need feminism to say that. 33, women had the right to vote in Spain, and then it and other legal and civil rights were taken from them during the Franco dictatorship, to be restored to them later in transition back to democracy. I don't know the details on this, so I'm not going to take their word for what was said. I don't know. Didn't really hear about that, so I'm not going to comment on that. I don't know the details. I'm not just going to take their word for utter fact. 34. Martial/spousal rape was legal in the United States until the 1970s/90s, as the state slowly recognized it as a crime, and it became a crime officially in all 50 states in 1933. Let's look up just when rape became illegal. Because, I mean, if rape is illegal, then why, like, alright, so I don't know. This is a fucked up thing that it took that long for it to be recognized as rape. Just like it was a fucked up thing that it took us so long to get over slavery. You don't need feminism for this stuff. You really don't need feminism to tell you. You really don't need a group where you're an extremist fighting for the rights of genders, triggered whenever a certain race doesn't get provided on television, triggered whenever somebody says something questionable on social media. You don't need that group right now to tell you that martial/spousal rape not becoming illegal for until 1970s or 90s is a bad thing. Yeah, that's horrible. Also, that's a thing of the past though. So, women can be forced into marriages. Yes, they can in other countries. That sucks. Too bad feminists don't focus on that. They focused on who's getting portrayed in TV shows. Number 37. When the movie Hidden Figures came out in theaters, it was the first most people, myself included, had heard of Katherine Gobe Johnson, Mary Jackson, Dorothy Vaughan, and the teams of African American women who were human computers and were vital to America's role in the space race and the successful orbit of John Glenn. Alright, so those were more behind the scenes type things though. Usually the behind the scenes things, even if they're white, the behind the scenes people don't get the credit. Usually there's someone with the ideas and the execution doing 50% of the work, and usually there's someone with a lot of charisma doing the other 50% of the work, doing the displays. And the person with the displays who's putting themselves out in the public more is going to get more recognition. And John Glenn got more recognition because he was the display and they were the work. Cool that they worked on human computers though. 38. Malala Bob was shot by the Taliban for pursuing her education and for standing up, speaking out, and working for girls' rights to an education. It's fucked up. Too bad feminism doesn't focus on that. You do. Whoever wrote this does, I guess. Maybe. Possibly. Or they're just writing it for propaganda. Suffragists in the United States were jailed, went on hunger strikes, and were force-fed because of it. Huh? I don't know the details on this either. 40. Boys are taught that crying and being emotional are signs of weakness. Cool. Cool. Cool that you're pointing that out. Horrible thing. Shouldn't happen. But I hate how feminists act like these are the biggest problems. How you feel is the biggest problems. How do I put this nicely and simply? Fuck your feelings. You're allowed to have them. You're allowed to have them, but you're not allowed to let them hold you back. Okay? Move on with life. Do actions. You could totally have feelings. I think you're stronger if you express your feelings, but don't let feelings be the only substance of your life. Don't let fighting against this stigma be the only thing in your life. We should fight against it simply by just showing our emotions. That's it. That's the only way to fight about it. Fuck 41. 42. This anonymous quote holds truth. Some of the great minds in history have been dismissed because they were covered in curls and bows. No, they were dismissed because women weren't as prominent historically in the past. They were just people who cooked and cleaned. So they weren't really these big warriors. And Joan of Arc, one of the women that was very strong, but she was also flawed in some ways of being a leader. I hate how whenever there's a woman historically that's notable, they have to act like perfect human being. No. I hate how when there's any big mind historical, they have to act like perfect human being. Some of them had flaws. Some of the girls that you're talking about. Maybe they were dismissed because they're just not as good as you're saying they were. And the reason they weren't as good may not be because women were as capable. It may have just been because smaller amounts of women had chances to do these things that men did back then. 43. Of the amount of times Hillary Clinton's husband was brought up in debates and conversation about the 2016 presidential election. Hillary Clinton has a very close relationship to Bill. Bill was president. Hillary was running for president. He's relevant in that conversation. Maybe he came up too much, though. 44. The media sexualizes underage celebrities. I don't know what the hell you mean. 45. People tell rape jokes. I hate rape jokes, man. They're too forced. 46. In the public high school from which I graduated, I took honors and AP English classes. In my 4 years there, I read 32 novels/plays. 4 of them had a female protagonist. Each of these 4 were either American or British. When you're writing literature, you should just try to write good literature, because you're going to get distracted from writing good literature if you're concerned while writing this is how many females do I have? How many black people do I have in this? How many Asian people do I have in this? If you're writing literature, if you're making art, just write literature and make art. Fuck that. 47. Out of the 32 fictional works read in high school, plus 2 nonfiction works for a total of 34, 3 of them were authored by women. So less women happen to be authors. And number 48, she's going on about this again. Out of these 34 works read, only 1 of them were authored by a woman of color. It was a Raisin in the Sun. Again, when you're looking at literature, stop looking at the skin that wrote it and just look at the literature. If a black female wrote a great piece of art, I would just adore it. I wouldn't be looking and saying, how many white people does she have in this? Because that's dumb. 49. The phrase be a man or man up are used 50, the phrase boys will be boys is used. Yeah, boys are stupid. Okay, we're just simpler people. Boys will be boys. That doesn't mean, we're gonna take your rights. You're not gonna be allowed to vote. Women suck. No, that just means boys are dumb. Let boys be dumb. They'll grow from it. Anyways, that was the short episode of BKP. Uh, we might do the rest of that list some other time, but as of now, that was the show. Have a good one and buy a visual shirt.